practice and feel lighter. So we would like you to share, if at all you have any experiences.
Om Shanti Shubhi.
Om Shanti Bhaiya.
So definitely have some experience in that, and the thing that it's created for me is an inner resilience, mental strength to have a confidence that whatever circumstances are in front of me today, I have the ability to face them, get through them without blame, without finger pointing, without worrying. So that's brought on a peace that I've never had before, and that peace, along with mental resilience, has been transformational.
That is a beautiful endorsement, Bhaiya. Yes, indeed, that is. It takes us away from this blame game, which is so beautiful because then we don't need to really put the gun on anyone's shoulder but myself. Because somewhere, in some lifetime or in this lifetime, we have created this energy which is coming back to us. It's as simple as that. And it is very liberating, honestly, because we know that we are experiencing good, bad, ugly, everything, even good, because we have done something very, very phenomenal in the past lives, and we are getting good results. So, these are very, very deep realizations. And I just feel that we all know about these things, from the physical perspective mostly. But when you think about it spiritually, they have a very, deep meaning. They're very settling in some ways. So let me share. Before we share, I'm going to request Sister Pooja to play a video or to play a commentary and song, whichever sequence she would like. Thank you so much.
Playing our part in this earthly drama, blind to depart. But deep inside there's a truth we can see. It is not our world for eternity. The silence calls, it's the world we belong. A realm of peace where we are strong. Awaken now to the world of the soul. This earth is a shadow, the true world's whole. Beyond the noise, beyond the race, there's a silent world, a sacred space. We are eternal, pure and free. The riches of the soul world we truly see. This world of illusion, so loud and so bright, is not our home, it's not our life. We are the essence beyond all form. Knowing the soul world, we are transformed. The Father of peace, He calls us near. In His silence, there's nothing to fear. Awaken now to the world of the soul. This earth is a shadow, the true world's whole. Beyond the noise, beyond the race, there's a silent world, a sacred space.
कुछ क्षणों के लिए बाह्य सभी बातों से भूलते हुए आसपास की जितनी भी आवाजें हैं सबसे ध्यान को हटाते हुए अपने ऊपर आ जाइए। जैसे कि बस सिर्फ आप ही हैं, आपके चारों ओर और कुछ भी नहीं है। शरीर के एक एक अंग से ध्यान को हटाते हुए धीरे 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 भ्रुकुटी के बीच आ जाइए। सेंटर ऑफ द फोरहेड, बिटवीन द आईब्रोज। और अपने आप को देखिए, जस्ट अ पॉइंट ऑफ लाइट। एक चमकता हुआ सितारा, शाइनिंग इन द सेंटर ऑफ द फोरहेड। बुद्धि के द्वारा हल्के से उसको देखने का प्रयास कीजिए। मैं एक चैतन्य शक्ति हूँ। मैं आत्मा, ज्योति स्वरूप इस प्रकृति के बीच विराजमान इस शरीर की मालिक हूँ। अपने ओरिजिनल स्वरूप में मैं आत्मा शांत स्वरूप हूँ। शांति जिसको मैं हर जगह ढूंढ रही थी, ये तो मेरी अपनी नेचर है, मेरी अपनी प्रॉपर्टी है, मेरा अपना संस्कार है। शांति के वाइब्रेशंस मुझ आत्मा से निकल चारों तरफ फैल रहे हैं। जैसे सूर्य की किरणें चारों तरफ रोशनी फैलाती हैं, वैसे ही मुझ आत्मा से भी शांति की वाइब्रेशंस मुझसे निकलकर चारों ओर फैल रहे हैं। मैं आत्मा धीरे धीरे पुनः इस दुनिया की तरफ आ रही हूँ, इस कर्म क्षेत्र पर अपने कॉस्ट्यूम में धीरे धीरे पुनः अपने स्थान पर आकर बैठ जाती हूँ। लेकिन इस स्मृति के साथ कि मैं कौन हूँ, मैं कैसी हूँ और मैं किसकी हूँ।
Oh, Shanti. Thank you, Pooja Ben. Beautiful song, beautiful meditation commentary. So I'm going to now share. So you might have to make me the host.
I did already, Didi.
Shanti. So today we are going to look at the cosmic cycle. It is the cycle we souls take, in different lifetimes. So it's really the journey of the soul around the whole cycle. Yesterday we had looked at the phenomena of action and reaction, the different type of karmas and how we settle them, and our karmic accounts, credit, debit, and all those things. Today is, how do we use the soul energy in exchange through actions? We all understand that karma takes place in time on this earthly plane. So today we are going to look at these cycles from a cosmic perspective and, come to have a deeper realization of our own nature. So first, let's look at the phenomena of time. So we can see that a sense of time has changed over time. Look at how timepieces have changed from sundial to liver to pendulum to dials. Old timepieces used to give us a sense of continuity, but a modern digital timepiece only flashes now, right? Constantly on the face. We all do probably feel that time is speeding up and that we never have enough time, that we are running out of time. And I'm sure that sense of time is felt by everyone. So there are three aspects of time: past, present, and future. So where does the past go to? And where is the future coming from? So from a limited sensory perception, time seems linear. But when we look at God's perspective, He's outside of time. He says time is cyclical. Past becomes future and future becomes past. And I can explain to you the limited, perception and the limited understanding I have of this. Think of it as a little bangle. And when you look at just one little piece of that bangle, it looks linear, right? But when you look at it holistically, you will see that it looks, round and cyclical. So past becomes future and future becomes past when you go around that circle. So everything in nature moves in cycles, right? Day and night, morning, afternoon, evening, night. You'll see that. Very, very typical. Even the seasons, we never question these. These are just natural. Right? Spring, summer, fall, winter. You even see human life cycle: birth, growth, maturity, decay, death, rebirth. Some cultures regard human life cycle also as cyclical. So cycles usually exhibit, 4 main phases or periods. And then there is a transition phase, which takes the cycle from one end into the next. So cycles have phase 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the 5th phase is usually the transition phase. So in phase 1, there is maximum, potential of expression. And we can say this phase 1 corresponds to the spring season. It's the phase of abundant energy for growth, abundant energy for renewal. However, this energetic phase does not remain because of something called the law of entropy. The law of entropy is almost the second law of thermodynamics, and it states that every isolated system, and we are not teaching you science, just to bring about a point scientifically, that how there is degradation, from something being perfect, how it keeps going down. So, in any isolated system, it evolves towards a state of increasing disorder. So what it means is everything new gets old, simply put. So it's, I visualize it, supposing there is a box, it has 100 balls. Initially, they're all aligned and are in perfect order. And over time, they become in a disordered state. And anything which is within the box cannot bring it back to order. Some higher or more, stronger, uh, you know, um, basically stronger um, thing or energy source has to be there to bring it back into an orderly state. And we'll get back to this. Just keep this in mind because we'll get there. Yeah. So, after the first phase of abundant energy comes the second phase, but the law of entropy tells us that everything which is in order gets into an increasing disorderly state. And so we see there are seasons of, cosmic cycles. There are four main, and one is transition phase. So the first one is called the spring or the golden age. Second is spring or the silver age. Third is fall or the copper age, and winter or iron age. Phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and transition age, phase 5. So these are different phases, and we are just trying to compare it to different seasons. Just just for the understanding point of view. So in the second phase, it corresponds to summer. It's the silver age, and it's characterized by dissipation or loss of energy. After the first phase of abundant energy comes the second phase where there is expenditure. There's still considerable energy. Some has been expanded and utilized. And phase 2, would typically correspond to summertime. And there's a lot of change that occurs in summertime, and then you go to the beginning of phase 3. By this time, much energy has been utilized and many things have been acquired. It corresponds to autumn or the harvest phase. It's also called fall. And phase 4 is nothing but the final major phase. It corresponds to winter. And by this time, nearly all the original energy has been, used. And basically, fresh input is needed at this time so that, it can go back into the first phase of spring. So it has to go through the transition phase from Iron Age phase 4 to phase 1, but it has to go via phase 5. This is the only phase in which the system can be recharged, right? So to recharge, we need to connect it to the power or energy source, which is much higher in capacity, quality, power, right? So we will explain this now a little bit more, coming down to starting with spring. So phase 1 is the springtime of human nature. And this is the journey of soul, right? So we are going to talk about, when you say human, all the experiences of the soul is through human body. So that is why we are calling as human nature, but it's really the journey of the soul through time. So let's consider that we all souls were in the soul world long time ago. And coming from there, the soul world, we souls are at our peak of purity, power, and perfection, because it's that realm is of purity and perfection. And whatever highest purity and power we can achieve, that is in that realm. So when the soul comes into the physical world, nature reflects this perfection also. The material world is also pure and perfect. There's nothing in the human psyche that would cause us sorrow. So nothing in nature could cause us sorrow. There's no insect or pollution or illness. There's no untimely death. Aging proceeds very, very slowly. There's long life, longevity is there, and souls shed their body naturally. There's no untimely death, so there's a world. This is called the world of immortality. So souls at the peak of purity and perfection are, divine in nature, and are remembered as gods or deities and goddesses. They're human beings, but their characters are divine. They are naturally soul conscious. Peace, purity, prosperity, natural way of life that's there. There's no need for religion there. So there are no temples or priests. No one remembers God at that time. Everyone is happy. There's one kingdom they call as, God's kingdom. It's been remembered as kingdom or heaven. There's no democracy, no socialist republic, nothing. And each plays exactly the role for which he or she is best suited. It is hierarchical, society. There's a hierarchy based on divine virtues. Status is based on intrinsic qualities. And of course, there is no gender, there's no social inequality. And, there are no authority or submissive subordination. Rulers are simply those who have the greatest virtues and natural wisdom. There's abundance of everything, golds and diamonds and rubies and natural. The world is a garden in which there is spring all around. There's art and dance and music, purest and most expressive form, but pure in nature. There are no borders of land and air and sea. There's perfect balance. Soul is also in perfect balance. There's perfect health. There's no laws which are needed. The only law is love. It is paradise. It's the peak of civilization. There's one enormous landmass, and it's called the Golden Age, Satyug, age of truth. Sat means truth, Yug means age. And karmas are neutral karmas, because all exchanges are based on love. There is no karmic accounts created at this time. So this is springtime of human nature. Everything is in its purest form, in abundance, and we descend from the home of light at this time. Satyug, golden age. So there is then transition from spring to summer, phase 1 to phase 2, due to entropy. So the soul loses energy. It's already taken births. So we're going to go over the number of births in different ages right at the end so that there's no confusion. The soul loses energy taking rebirths, and the energy, loss, it's manifested as slight decline in level of consciousness. Purity is less, this decline of consciousness, and the energy of the soul, which was full in the beginning, is a little slightly low. So the golden age paradise becomes semi-paradise in silver age. So the soul, they're discharging their original power and qualities through their actions and interactions, and the very fact that they have taken births. So, comparing golden and silver age is like, there is full sun in golden age. So it's full light. And in silver age, there is half light. But still, the colors and beauty, there is richness in everything. There's still pure love, but population now is increasing. The kingdom is expanding. The soul have first entered into this play are gradually becoming attracted to things of the senses, right? They are, there's material beauty, the soul is now attracted towards beauty. It's seeing its image in water and thinking, oh, I'm more beautiful than the other. And with each successive birth, the soul is more and more pulled into the world of senses. And there is no negativity, no sorrow. There's still more attention on the form than on the content or essence. Silver age, still precious, but affected by oxidation. So it's called, so souls in this time are still 80 to 87% pure compared to 100% purity, whatever they could reach in golden age. And the average lifespan is marginally shorter in silver age. There's more complexity, less quality. It's called Treta Yuga. Treta means 3/4 of the age of the cycle still remains in this yuga. And karmas are still neutral. No sinful acts are being performed. Souls are still more than 50% soul conscious. So there's no account created. There's no sorrow which is felt. So this is Treta Yuga. So the next phase is the fall of human nature. It's also called Dwapar Yuga. It's right in the middle of the cycle where golden and silver ages have passed, Satyug Treta. Dwapar Kalyug is the last two, right? So the level of soul consciousness here continues to decline naturally with time. There is a sudden precipitation into body consciousness. So till the middle of the cycle, which was the end of Silver Age, we were soul conscious more than 50%. As soon as the soul consciousness becomes less than 50%, we go into body consciousness. So there's a sudden precipitation into body consciousness. And what happens is at this time, there is a sudden release of pure energy in the environment. And a lot of attraction or attachment to the body. There's a fear of death. So sudden precipitation into body consciousness, what it does is it, brings fear. Body consciousness brings fear. So when we are body conscious, the soul loses authority over the sense organs. So senses become more dominant, and soul is not the authority anymore. So soul loses its dominance, and it, starts to become the slave of the senses. And then, it becomes slave of matter. So this truly marks the change from what we called heaven or semi-heaven to hell, literally. There used to be a unified, integrated existence, because in heaven there is one language, one culture, one kingdom, all of those things. It's unified. There's unity. In Silver Age, a little bit of, kingdoms becoming, divided, but still there's whole lot of unity. And by the time the Copper Age comes, the fall of human nature, we find that integrated existence is now degradation has occurred in that. There is disunity, there is divergence. And, there's a loss of self-control. So the soul reaches a breaking point. And what happens at this time is we actually, forget who we were. That is a very good thing that happens, that when we are naturally soul conscious, we know our births, our prior births. But because there are no karmic accounts created, there's no pull towards any soul. But in body consciousness, naturally, we, experience amnesia. And what happens is we forget who we were, and we forget our prior births, which is very important, because when we are body conscious, we would, remember if our previous cycle, a previous birth, sorry, previous lifetime, and who our spouses were, who our children were. And instead of, focusing here, we would start to focus on, these relationships which were in our prior births. And that's a possibility. So it's good that we all forget who we are, but that's because we are now body conscious. Yeah. So souls have now, fallen into complete identification with the body. The splitting of human family, rise of primitive cultures in addition to existing cultures. So things are changing physically in the society. There are cataclysmic changes in nature. There's trauma, amnesia. So there's duality, there's imbalance, happiness, sorrow, spirit and matter, male and female. These, we have started to differentiate between all of these. And then there is sorrow and surge. Because of body consciousness, we start to experience vices. And because we start to experience vices, we start to experience sorrow, suffering, and then we look for God. Because it's only when we are suffering, the soul is suffering, the body is suffering, we search and look out for God. In the first half of the cycle, golden and silver ages, we were naturally soul conscious. We were happy, peaceful, in harmony with nature. There was complete balance. There was no need for God. So we look for God here. And then, of course, we start worshipping the image which has been in our mind as a point of light and create, a lingam. Not a bodily image at this time, but a point we worship. And then slowly from Copper Age, founders of different, faiths, they come down as pure beings. And tomorrow we are going to do that. We will give you the hierarchy of how different religions are formed. And they come from Copper Age onwards. So before Copper Age, we were naturally soul conscious, and there was no need for anyone to really come and, form religions and, dissipate purity, because we were pure beings. But here, from Copper Age onwards, faiths also get created, different religions, and memories of Supreme Being resurface. So we start to worship the Supreme as He is. And of course, we have that image of Supreme in our mindset. Memories and visions of lost ages result in deity worship. And as we are going down the path of Copper Age, birth after birth after birth, we also look at our images when we were deities in the Golden Age, or human beings were deities in the Golden Age, that, we start to create those images, because that's also part, of the memory. And, there is suddenly many, many countries. There is diversity of language and culture. Truly the human family is shattered. There's no unity left anymore. So, recorded history begins at this time. No one wrote anything down in golden and silver ages. Because people lived in the present. There was no need to preserve any memory at that time. But now, in Copper Age, kings and queens felt the need to be recorded. So Copper Age is a good conductor. Copper is a good conductor affected by the elements. Dwapar Yug, age of duality, Khushi Dukh, Sukh Dukh, such jhoot, matlab, all of that, you can experience both duality, karma, vikarma. So from Copper Age onwards, in the middle of the cycle, we start to create karmas. And mostly because these karmas are so, copper, this body conscious karmas, they are vikarma, or negative actions. So this is the fall of human nature, right? So in fall, it's the middle of the cycle, sudden precipitation into body consciousness, and, human family just splits apart, and there is trauma and amnesia. There is imbalance, and we start to worship because of sorrow and suffering. Dwapar Yuga, and we create vikarms, which are negative actions. So I wanted to also say that, scriptures were written during the fall or Dwapar, and the founders of religion who came played their part of uplifting humanity, and their efforts were not totally successful, and all the religions, they start with very high consciousness, and then they go down slowly towards decline. And religions also, which are created, go through phases of from pure to impure, and the population continues to increase as more and more souls are coming down from the soul world. And now there is scarcity because law of supply and demand. You can see more souls are coming down, and supply is only that much. So a lot of things happen. There's a transition from summer to fall. Now the winter of human nature, there is the search for something higher, is happening. So fall is now is changing into winter. Human beings by this time are totally chained to the vices. There is unbelievable sorrow and unrest. It is the age of utmost decline. Decline in every way, moral, talk about ethical, spiritual values, or any values. We are seeing in this world, there's a downward spiral of negative, you know, um, values. And I'm sure all of you are, observing that. So in spite of the establishment of all the religions which came from Copper Age onwards, there has been, decline rather than going up towards the Golden Age. We are going more and more towards the Iron Age, right? So in this age, the religion itself has become source of conflict and sorrow. It loses complete credibility. Science has become God, and everything is reduced, to the level of material values. Towards the end of Iron Age, society becomes completely degraded and dehumanized. What we find is that material ambition is generally held to be the sole aim and objective of existence. It's the season of least light. It's cold and barren. So we find the consciousness is confused. It's polluted. It's, very much weakened by negativity, doubt, and sorrow. And we also find population stretches the limits of the planet's resources we find sorrow and suffering are widespread. This total discontentment, there's widespread wars and violence and poverty. And nature is also in an upheaval, right? So what we find is that human consciousness dictates consciousness in nature. When the human consciousness was pure, peaceful, and in harmony, nature was also pure, peaceful, and in harmony. So human consciousness reflects the consciousness of nature. When you find that right now human consciousness is at its lowest ebb, nature is also revolting and it's in its lowest ebb. So disease is now rampant, pollution threatens, everywhere. Irreligiousness has occurred even within the religion. So Iron Age, Kali, Dark Age. Iron is a strong metal, but gets corroded in water. Karma is Vikarm, Ravan, or devices. So we are still creating Vikarms because we are still strongly in body consciousness. So the winter does not then goes back to fall, summer, or spring. The cycle of this human nature must go from greatest darkness to the time of greatest enlightenment or highest energy, which is the golden age, the spring of human nature. So from winter, we need to high jump to golden age. So how does that happen? So from Kalyug to Satyug, sorry, it's in Hindi, unfortunately. Last minute I thought I'll just put the slide. So I couldn't find an English version, but next time, hopefully. The transition or confluence age, this is the phase 5. And, it's transitioning from Kalyug, where vices are at its peak, irreligiousness is at its peak, right? To the golden age. It goes through the confluence age because energy must come from somewhere to renew the world, and only God, the supreme consciousness, supreme power, supreme source of energy, has sufficient energy for this task of world renewal. All other souls are tired of taking birth and, birth after birth after birth. Only God is one being who's beyond life and death. Therefore, there's no memory loss, and he's able to, holistically see all the events of all time periods, has the knowledge of the whole. And so there's absolute decline of, truth. And that is the time when it's necessary to reestablish the world of truth, which is Satyug. So this can only occur through a change in human consciousness, and humanity has to move from the period of greatest darkness to the period of greatest light. So this transition from winter back to spring, which is Kalyug to Satyug, so Iron Age to Golden Age, occurs very rapidly. It's a short period, short phase known as the confluence age. It's also the Golden Age, the Diamond Age. During this age, there is much chaos because the old meets the new. And it's God's energy which is used for renewal. And it's the most auspicious, most beneficial age because we are able to be in the company of God, and He is able to help us renew from Iron Age to Golden Age. So the soul, it's a journey of soul which He's renewing. Iron aged soul is getting renewed and becoming pure, powerful, and having all these innate qualities of the soul of the golden age. So God helps to renew because He is supreme soul, Param Atma, Paramatma, Atma ko transform karta hai from golden aged soul to, from the iron aged soul to golden aged soul. And this is the age of purification of human consciousness. So this happens by the process of yoga, right? Which is meditation. So God, He is like a perfect mirror and He's able to see the flaws. So He, God doesn't feel or go through the punishment because He doesn't go through life and death or birth and death. But we souls, we are, punished through the suffering of realization of our past mistakes. And we also realize the sorrow those mistakes have caused us. So at this time, soul cannot do anything to transform itself or to settle its karma. We cannot really perform any redeeming action to what we have done in the past. So the soul has to burn through that karmic account. After that, it experiences sweet peace. So we do this purification, like yesterday we said, through, the fire of yoga. And, we can also make effort to pay back our accounts and so on and so forth, and by serving others. And then what happens is when the soul has purified, then it carries the effect of this purified soul, that fortune, to the next cycle. So the confluence age is the age, it's the shift from time of greatest darkness to the time of greatest light. And of course, this is the time which is also called the diamond age, even better than the golden age, because we are in the company of God. And, diamonds are formed under high temperature and pressure conditions in kimberlite, rocks. And with intense power of yoga, under the intense fire of yoga, these pure diamonds or pure souls are recreated. So, this is the time when God plays a part. It's hidden concurrent with the Iron Age. So this age is actually the end of Iron Age, where souls decide to be either part of the Iron Age or of Confluence Age. They either want to go, without God or with God. Both of these ages, the last 100 years of this, are running in parallel. So Iron and Confluence Age run in parallel. And it is the age of consciousness where you are very much, God conscious and soul conscious again. And you try to uplift the soul back to its original state of purity. So it's called the Diamond Age, age of illumination, and it's called Sangam Yuga. Sangam is the confluence of soul with the supreme soul. And the karmas performed are sukarm, positive actions which are performed under soul conscious stage. So when you experience your soul consciousness and perform the actions, you're doing all the or accumulating all the sukarms. So this is the confluence age. And I wanted to go through the slide. This is not the best slide. It's a big poster. When you're in person, we show that. So when you squeeze that in a slide, this is how it looks. And maybe Pooja Behan can also post it in the Raj Yoga group and also here if you would like to see it. I don't know how to do this, but this is showing the cycle of 84 births. And the first 8 births, so each of these are truly, the entire cycle is divided into 4. The first one is golden age, where there's 8 births. And, the soul, when they take birth, are in deity forms, variety of deities. And silver age is where they take 12 births. And 12 births, reflects, so it is called, the Suryavanshi. Golden age is Suryavanshi, and silver age is Chandravanshi Gharana. So there are 12 births, so its longevity is going down in the same time period. And then in copper age, we start with finding ourselves under intense sorrow and suffering because we are body conscious now. So we create, images of God and create temples. And then, of course, religious founders, they start to come down and, create religions. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. So then the soul is coming down, taking 21 births in copper age, and then it's taking 42 births in this, iron aged world. And it's basically 42 births. And you can see that at this time, the soul has lost its concept of God also, and it's started to worship, trees and basically animals and everything under the sun. Anything which he feels as, the human consciousness feels is more, powerful than them, they start to worship them. So you can see many, many vices there. And so in the end, there is a small little age, which is the age of confluence age, which is running in parallel to the iron age, in which God comes and gives us this knowledge and tells us that we need to transform from the iron age, aged soul to the golden aged soul. And we need to put effort in that. So that is the confluence age in the end. So this is one thing which I wanted to go with you. So cycle of self-realization. Self means I, the soul. As you were once, we were the purest form. You were destined to be again pure, perfect, peaceful, prosperous, happy, and complete. Past is past, and the present is the most auspicious. We are told to live in the present instead of going in the past and the future, but it is the most auspicious because at this time in confluence age, we are in the company of God. So many, many tips for success. Appreciate and apply spiritual knowledge. So this knowledge is not just to listen and feel good, but take a few points and apply them in your life. You'll see a transition, a transformation happening for the better. So apply the knowledge to make the soul powerful, cause feelings of happiness to dominate the consciousness, attain a naturally peaceful outlook, and change one's personality. So you will find your personality changing because your outlook changes, your perception changes, right? दृष्टिकोण बदलता है तो automatically personality भी बदलने लगती है, right? So these are the tips for success. Om Shanti. So this is what we were thinking of covering, and I think we are pretty much in time. So what I'm going to do is we'll request our sweet sister Pooja to play a song or commentary, and then feel free to ask any questions. Maybe write it in chat and we can discuss them after the meditation. Thank you.
जब तुमसे मन जुड़ जाता है, आनंद अलौकिक पाता है। जब तुमसे मन जुड़ जाता है, आनंद अलौकिक पाता है। तुमसे मिलने की चाहत में मन मेलों तक उड़ जाता है, मन मेलों तक उड़ जाता है। जब तुमसे मन जुड़ जाता है, आनंद अलौकिक पाता है। सांसों के तारों में हर पल बजता तेरा गीत निरंतर। सांसों के तारों में हर पल बजता तेरा गीत निरंतर। तेरे अनहद नाद की धुन अब गूंजे हर पल मन के भीतर। तेरे अनहद नाद की धुन अब गूंजे हर पल मन के भीतर। मन को पंख दे कैसे रोके ना रुक पाता है। इस मन को पंख दिए कैसे रोके ना रुक पाता है। तुमसे मिलने की चाहत में मन मिलों तक उड़ जाता है, मन मिलों तक उड़ जाता है। जब तुमसे मन जुड़ जाता है, आनंद अलौकिक पाता है। जब तुमसे मन जुड़ जाता है, आनंद अलौकिक पाता है। तृष्णा भटक गई थी कांटों के इस जंगल में। मैं अनजाना उलझ गया था मोह माया के दलदल में। मोह माया के दलदल में मन के शोर सब थम से गए हैं तुझ झरने की कलकल में। मन के शोर सब थम से गए हैं तुझ झरने की कलकल में। सारे प्रश्नों का हल पाया तेरे एक ही उत्तर में। तेरे एक ही उत्तर में। जब तुमसे मन जुड़ जाता है मन खुशियों से भर जाता है। जब तुमसे मन जुड़ जाता है मन मिलों तक उड़ जाता है। आनंद अलौकिक पाता है मन खुशियों से भर जाता है।
Such a soulful song, Poojaben. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know, ask or chat. You can write it in the chat. And if there are no questions, then what we will do is we will end the class now. Have the most wonderful day with Baba, whatever's left of it. And we'll see you tomorrow. So there are 2 more days left. We'll see you tomorrow at 7. Practice soul consciousness. Whatever has been taught to us comes directly from God himself, the knowledge through channeling. And he really hasn't talked about any other, living being. So we know only of human births and human cycle. And yes, other beings also have soul, but we have not been given much information on those. We have been taught only about soul, which are human souls, take human bodies. So my apologies on that. But yes, I'm sure different species have souls as well, and there is consciousness. This is my belief, that we all are united in one consciousness, and we are part of that one united being, united consciousness. So I'm sure everything else also, plants and animals, will have consciousness. Now, I don't have the description, so I don't know about that. Thank you. Anything else? All right. So have the most wonderful day, and we will see you tomorrow at 7. Take care. Thank you. Love you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Yeah.